Look at the fact that indigenous women, I was just in Australia. This summer I've actually been traveling a lot. I was in South Africa, I was in Australia, Brazil, a number of different places. And in all of those places we were talking about issues of racism, issues of the prison industrial complex, issues of the global capitalism. And in Australia, 2% of the female population at large consists of Aboriginal women. But what percentage of the imprisoned population would you think you would find Aboriginal women? Yeah, 30% of the imprisoned population. And what's interesting is that oftentimes Aboriginal women are picked up for offenses that have less time, that are more they aren't always the major crimes. There's small petty offenses, and someone was saying, "Oh, Aboriginal women actually receive less time than white women do."
Wow.
And we had to point out, well, the white women don't even get picked up.
Right.
Recognize that we're talking about criminalization.
Yes.
We're not talking about crimes. We're not talking about something that is specific and factual that police use to arrest them. We're talking about large-scale criminalization of populations, criminalization of Aboriginal populations, criminalization of black populations, populations of color. Now, if we think about the U.S., the vastly disproportionate numbers of black women, Native women, are rooted in histories of slavery and histories of genocide, rooted in the capitalist, hetero-patriarchal project that produced settler colonialism and that produced slavery. But we're now well into the 21st century, and we haven't really figured out how these histories continue to plague us in ways that are rarely acknowledged by our political leaders. And when I'm talking about political leaders, we can evoke Obama, Harper,
Fuck 'em.
Merkel in Germany. We could even evoke Zuma in South Africa. And I never thought I would be placing a South African leader in.
Right.
You know, it's very it's so disappointing what has happened in South Africa. So disappointing. But they've all refused to acknowledge the extent to which the contemporary state of economic, social, political affairs keep the old oppressive histories alive. Targeting, frameworks that allow for the special targeting of women, of racially marginalized women all over the world. So why has it become increasingly profitable to use the institution of the prison to address problems that have been created by the development of global capitalism? capitalism? That was a question I was raising earlier. Some of us remember when South Africa really was the hope of the planet. We expected South Africa to lead the way not only in combating racism and sexism and homophobia, because after all, it was the first constitution that included a clause against homophobia and sexism. But we also expected South Africa to lead the way in guaranteeing economic justice for everyone. Now, of course, we can't argue that the state of affairs in South Africa today is the same as it was during apartheid. Things have changed fundamentally, radically. But when one looks at all of the black billionaires, when one looks at the members of the African National Congress who were freedom fighters and their role now in the capitalist industries of South Africa, and I'm thinking of Seale Ramaphosa especially, who was, I remember him as being one of the most radical, militant leaders. He was the head of the miners' union. And now I think he's the richest man in South Africa. Don't let me start talking about it.